Okay, and we are not live. It is Puka. It is Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Just a couple of thoughts here on a big weekend of racing. Shout out to Thunder Bay. Hope you're having a good weekend. Shout out to Fort Worth, Texas. Racing going on there. Shout out to Deer Creek Speedway. Big night. What is the Stock Car Nationals tonight? Big shout out to Knoxville, of course, the Lucas Oil late models there. Shout out to Rock Rapids, Iowa. The Repairable Vehicles Tri-State Late Model Series making an appearance. And of course, the G.O.A.T 100 I-94 Sure Step Speedway Fergus Falls and the legendary 100 down at Cedar Lake Speedway, Somerset, Wisconsin. So shout out to all your race fans and racers at all those events. Hope you're having a good time. I want to talk a little bit about those events. I just had some takes, some things that came to mind. G.O.A.T Sports, thanks for everything you're doing. If you're a race fan and hockey fan, you're definitely going to want to subscribe to G.O.A.T Sports on Facebook and G.O.A.T Sports on YouTube. We've got a lot of racing and hockey content. Of course, a little bit more racing in the summer, a little more hockey in the winter. The Tea with Miss McGill you can find on there, or if you're a podcaster, go to Tea with Miss McGill. The favorite place you podcast, you can find the hockey podcast there. And of course, the One to Go Show, kind of the mothership. Make sure you get subscribed to the One to Go Show. We'll be dropping a show again this week. Probably record that Monday night. Like I said, a lot to go over, a lot of racing going on. Real quick, I just want to thank our friends over at Blue Line Brews. So this is the Detective Special. This is kind of it's a dark bean, but it's a little different bean than some dark coffees. Is what the Detective Special is. And then I've got the stakeout. So here, if you're a dark coffee, stakeout. Get it, nighttime stakeout, dark bean. And then the next brew is Justice. Justice is coming. Isn't that what Rambo taught us? Justice is coming. So that will be the next brew that they're working on. It will be titled Justice. So we're excited to get that. And like I said, want to give a big shout out to Blue Line Brews and everything they're doing for us. BlueLineBrews.com. 10% of the profits back to families of officers who have fallen in the line of duty. So not only get some great brews, but you can also help out a great cause, which is awesome. So yeah, so a lot of racing. Who was the rap guy that said that? When they say, God, I was catching up. I've been up early. I was a lot of Blue Line Brewing this morning, up early, trying to catch up on all the streaming. But didn't one of those rappers say something like, so many women, so little time? So, this weekend there's so much racing, so little time. But glad to get some of it in here. Which of these events is going to grow is the question. There's a lot of racing going on. It looks like, that's what I kind of want to talk about was the crowds. Knoxville, you don't see a lot of the grandstands, but boy, it looked a little light. I-94, the G.O.A.T 100, looked a little light from what I can see. You can comment, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Cedar Lake looked really light last night on Friday night, that backstretch. Not much going on there. Even the parking in 3 and 4, it seemed like 2 spots filled, 1 spot empty. 2 spots filled, 1 spot empty. And yeah, I don't know what it is. They always say that it can be tough to do racing once high school and college football starts. That's why they have all those races like down south on Sundays. The master of Saturdays in the deep south is college football. As a matter of fact, if you look at the ratings, college football is number 2 now. NFL, college football, they're completely obliterated Major League Baseball and the NBA. So college football is big. But even up in the Northland here, we have high school football that gets going, and all other high school sports all together, and it makes things a little bit tougher on the weekend. So speaking of crowds, another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was there's been some rumors since midsummer that the World of Outlaw Late Model Series might be no more. This might be it. And of course, and it seems like a little bit of the information is getting a little bit richer and richer. But a lot of what I'm hearing is coming from the racing side. The racer, the talent, that kind of a thing. Of course, there was the announcement this week that the Firecracker 100 out in Lernerville is going to be Lucas. They're going to bump that, 20 or 30 this year? They're going to bump it to 50. It's going to be a Lucas event. And that is a pretty big blow to the World Racing Group. it wasn't that long ago that the World Racing Group owned Lernerville. And they have a big block modified event there, which is World Racing Group. They have a couple of World sprint car shows there, obviously World Racing Group, and then they had the Firecracker. And now for that to change over, that is very, very interesting. But let's get back to the talent aspect. So the talent aspect is one thing. The talent aspect is important only to the degree of fan count. Fan count. Fan count is what's important. And that's what we're going to have to wait and see towards the end of the year here, what happens when, think about it. They're going to have, some sort of a, I don't really want to call it an exit interview, but like with different sports, the season ends, you have an exit interview. And, think about this. If Casey Schumann walks into Brian Carter's office, so Casey Schumann is the director for World Racing Group. His job is more so day-to-day and just World of Outlaw late models. And you have Brian Carter, president and CEO of World Racing Group. So if Casey Schumann goes in there and says, well, Brian, we got whatever, 35 races in the books, crowds, talking to the promoters, crowds were good. As a matter of fact, we booked 3 more dates already for 2022 versus 2021. I assure you, the World of Outlaw Late Model Series is coming back in 2022, if that's the case. Just like most things in life, follow the money. Follow the money. The money is made with the fans. The money isn't made on necessarily the talent level. So if you're thinking that the World of Outlaw Late Models are going to go down just because the talent level versus Lucas might be less, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. If World Racing Group is drawing fans, and I went to the show in Superior this year, pretty good. I've done a lot of streaming. Looked like Grand Forks was good. Looked like Menominee was good. So the shows up in this area have been good. Even 2 weeks ago, we had the World last week, but 2 weeks ago, Labor Day weekend, Volunteer Speedway, the fan count looked pretty good. So I'm not so sure that we're going to see the demise of the World of Outlaw Late Model Series just yet. And the other aspect to look at, what has grown in the last, especially last year, but the last 2, 3, 4 years. What's grown in racing? Dirt track racing. The streaming part. Okay, so they've got Dirt Vision, who Dryden is behind big time. When you go to Dirt Vision, you're going to get a lot of Dryden ads. I think it's Dirt Vision brought to you by Dryden. The logo's there a lot. Dryden is really tied into this streaming side because they want to catch a much broader audience than those that just go to the track. They have cars like Ricky Weiss, they have Chris Madden, they have Scott Bloomquist, they have Logan Schuchart, they have drivers, they have, that are going to get you the at-track experience. You get a picture from Ricky Weiss. There's all kinds of Dryden stuff on the back. Bloomquist on the back of it. Bloomquist, same thing. But they're trying to get that individual who's consuming racing right from the comfort of their own home, like I said, much like I'm doing this weekend. And if you look at the streaming aspect, I get Dirt Vision. Am I going to get Dirt Vision just to get the World of Outlaw sprint cars almost all year? Or all year, except for a couple of it, like Knoxville's not included. You have to pay extra. Like Cedar Lake, you had to pay extra for the World of Outlaw Late Models this year at the USA Nationals. Am I going to get that channel just for the sprints, or am I just going to maybe watch some clips on YouTube? Now, obviously, that's Summer Nationals. And the Summer Nationals was goofy this year as far as the way they did things. Are they going to go back to that format where it's stretched out all summer? Who knows? What if they go back to a 2-week-ish event? Well, then you've got more events for 2 weeks, and then it drops. They could bring in the big blocks. Not a big following around the country. That's more of a Northeast thing, which is the Northeast. Obviously, you got some big markets. You got Philly, you got New York, you got Boston, Pittsburgh. I don't know how many people in those markets actually follow it. I think it's more the rural individual anyway. So that Dirt Vision side is going to add a real interesting element as far as what's going to happen to the World of Outlaw Late Models. Because like I said, the World of Outlaw Late Models, I think they get about in the low 30s as far as events, 32, 33, 35, somewhere in there. That's a lot more content that you can get, starting, of course, in February with Speed Weeks, and then continuing. I think they've just got a couple more events left. Sprints go pretty hard yet for a while. But if you look at that Dirt Vision aspect, I'm not so sure the World of Outlaw Late Models are going to say goodbye so fast. It will be interesting because, like I said, there definitely is a talent difference. Bloomquist dropping off. who else has dropped off for the last couple of years? Oh, Dillard, Dillard dropping off this year. So the talent level coming was just a tad bit lower. Strickler was on there for a while. He's dropped off. And obviously Lucas has been pretty solid for the last several years. But who knows in the offseason too? Clanton was a regular for many years. Lanigan was a regular for many years. Who knows what's going to happen, as far as people coming from the Lucas over. Maybe they look and say, geez, I can make a lot more money over there. It's a little bit easier money possibly for somebody. So you never know in the offseason, or what, known as the silly season, who might run over. What about Josh Richards? Josh Richards has a terrible year this year. He stunk up the Lucas series. Obviously, Mark Richards, we know, has a lot of influence, and that's another factor, the Mark Richards factor with the World of Outlaws. Maybe they got to tame that down, and maybe that'll attract some more drivers. But maybe Josh Richards, who knows if he's going to get renewed by Clint Boyer, or maybe he can convince Clint, say, hey, look, I think we've got a better shot at making some dough over on the World of Outlaw late model series versus doing the Lucas series. So there are definitely a lot of balls in the air as far as what's going to happen here in the off season. But getting back to this weekend, like I said, a lot of shows. Thunder Bay, I hope you're doing well up there. No idea what the crowds are like. I imagine they're pretty big, getting racing back in a market that's about 100,000-ish as far as population. Texas, it'll be interesting to see how this thing all rolls out. And there's another one. You talk about streaming. He's got all these different classes. It's like a week-long celebration of racing. A week-long celebration of racing, you can make a lot of money on streaming. And that's the thing with the Legendary 100 and Cedar Lake. Like I said, to me, the crowds look light. I'm not interested in going to an event with 15 classes and racing so late every night. And there's just way too much going on for me. Like I said, I'll sit at home. I'll consume the next morning just the features that I want. And so maybe that is not a recipe for success for getting butts in the seat, but that might be a recipe for success for streaming. Because you think about it, if you're streaming, mom, dad can't be there, they're going to jump on. Brother, sister can't be there, they're going to jump on. Good friends are going to jump on. Aunt, uncle might want to jump on. Some pitmen, etc. that can't make it if you're traveling a long way. So there's a way of generating some revenue there on the streaming side. But like I said, as far as butts in the seat, my eye test, what I'm seeing this weekend is things a little bit low. Knoxville, I'm a little confused with. I'm not sure why numbers would be down there at Knoxville. But like I said, it looked a little bleak from what I've seen. Obviously, the main events are all tonight. Your best crowd's always going to be on a Saturday night. But it looks like compared to other years, things are just a little bit light. So it'll be interesting to see which shows continue to grow on this weekend and which ones, kind of fade just a little bit. But Texas is going to be, I think, a big one to get into Dallas. And if we could really grow dirt late model racing there, I think it'd be a great thing. Obviously, a great facility and all that. All right, so like I said, it is Saturday. It is a big day of racing. I'm going to skedaddle here, so I just want to get you some of my thoughts. Again, subscribe, G.O.A.T Sports, YouTube and Facebook. Blue Line Brews, I'll try to remember to put the website right down in the description here. Hop on, get yourself some good brew. It's getting cold. We have a frost warning where I'm from tonight. So if you got a garden, cover it up. But first frost warning of the year, we're definitely moving into coffee season. Having a hot brew in the morning, nothing better. And I think that's it. So we will catch you all in the next video. For everyone racing tonight in the Northland here in the area, good luck, be safe, best wishes, and we'll catch you all on the next video.